Yes, the hobbits are great. They're cool. I love the hobbits. But it's the elves for me. It'll always be the elves. I'm embarrassed to admit that I have not read Lord of the Rings. If you've watched any of my videos, then you know I'm a huge fantasy and sci-fi reader, but still, I have not read the series. I have the series, pretty much every book. I think I'm missing one, and keep putting it off. For what reason? I'm not really sure. Maybe I'm a little intimidated. Maybe I'm a little worried that I'm not gonna love it. I have heard really great things. I've watched all the movies, but I've also heard people say that it's pretty slow paced and they didn't love it. We'll see, I guess, how that experience is for me, because starting today, I am going to read Lord of the Rings. I'm gonna start with The Fellowship of the Ring. I know, I should start with The Hobbit. I'm making the conscious decision to not start with The Hobbit because it is more of a children's book. I have started it before and didn't love it, and so I'm going to start with The Fellowship of the Ring and hopefully enjoy it and love it. We'll see, but I'm going to take you along for the ride with me as I read the series and give you my thoughts and my critiques. I'm not like a fantasy expert, but I feel like I've read my fair share of fantasy and have a pretty good idea of what today's fantasy readers look for and like and enjoy and things that are important. So get ready. Here we go. Let's read Lord of the Rings. I snagged my hat somehow. It is freaking cold here today. It was down to 0 degrees, and I think even with the wind chills around -22. So finally feeling like an actual Montana winter here. We have a little bit of snow on the ground. It's supposed to snow again later today, I think, just a little bit. But I am off to a cardiology appointment this morning. I have an echocardiogram. Ever since I had the pulmonary embolism, there were some indications of maybe some heart strain. So I'm just gonna be on the precautionary side and have it checked out. So that's what I'm doing this morning and then heading into work. But I wanted to do a quick update on Lord of the Rings. So I am not very far. So I'm still in the middle or finishing up Dreams of the Dying, and so I have been reading Dreams of the Dying when I get a chance during the day, and then picking up Lord of the Rings at night and just reading a few pages just because I'm super amped and excited to get into it. So I figured a little bit here and there at the start is better than nothing. But I'm really enjoying the way you get dropped into the world of the hobbits. They give you this backstory, this history of the hobbits and Bilbo Baggins, and so that's been kind of interesting and cute. It feels very whimsical, not at all what the Lord of the Rings movies felt like, which felt very serious, very dark, very deeply fantasy, grim, just very dark. So I haven't gotten that vibe yet, and I just literally reached the part where you see Gandalf riding to go see Bilbo on his birthday. So I'm sure that in no time I'm going to get to that dark side, that dark aspect of the book. And yeah, I'm really excited for it. I can't believe that I've put it off this long. I did end up borrowing the audiobook, which I haven't used yet, and I don't know if I will. But I thought it might be a good way to digest the book, to really get an immersive experience, because I have heard, like I said, that it can be a little bit slow paced because there's so much exposition involved that can be a little monotonous at times. From what I understand, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I love it. Anyway, I've got to get going. I just wanted to give a quick update while I was sitting here waiting for the car to warm up. So yeah, I will check back in once I have more reading done. Yeah. Bye! Happy Saturday, friends. I have been sitting here this morning and making some progress on the Fellowship of the Ring. I'm on page 73, which my Kindle says is 20% of the way through. And so far, we're just spending time with the hobbits, really, and Gandalf. I think that it's really interesting how, and obviously, I'm 20% it, so not very far, but my first impression is having seen the movies and now starting to read the book. I do feel like Tolkien uses his characters to represent a bigger idea. You have the hobbits, Frodo in particular, who is this kind of sacrificial hero, and how he, being so small of stature, and the power that Tolkien puts within small creatures. Gollum.
You don't have any friends. Nobody likes you. Not listening. Not listening. You're a liar. And a thief. No. Murderer.
And Frodo and Sam. They're really the heroes of the story, and they cost a victory. And so it's just interesting to see you have these bigger, more powerful characters, kings and wizards and trees and orcs and all of these things, but yet ultimately at the end of the day, the victors of this story are the smaller creatures. It's very evocative in its descriptions. You really get a sense of immersion and just this colorful, descriptive background. I'm just really enjoying my time in this book. The prose is just kind of romantic and epic. I hope it continues in this vein because I'm really, really liking it. And I do not feel like it's an inaccessible book at any means. Again, I'm 20% in, so I have a lot yet to go. But at this point, I feel like it is a book for every reader, a book for a true fantasy lover, or even if you're not, maybe a series to really make people fall in love with fantasy. I think it is a reason why it's such a beacon for fantasy writers, and that people rely on it as like a source material, because it really is so magical. I'm really, really happy that I decided to pick it up and stop putting it off. So that's my little catch up. We are about to go out to lunch, I think, just the local brewery, and grab like a burger or a wrap or something. Ollie's over there enjoying his bone. He is a big chewer. He's the chewiest dog that we've ever had. My other dogs before strictly wanted to play with their toys and didn't really chew much. Ollie likes to chew shit. Like, he likes to chew on carpet and shoes and socks. So just giving him something to kind of focus his chewing behavior on has been really helpful. that's it for now, friends. I will catch you later. Bye. 60% check-in. I can see where people say this book is a little slow. But I say it's not slow, it is magical. Tolkien is very descriptive, okay? But he leaves no stone unturned. He really just situates you in the story, in the world. You can actually feel the color and see the smells. If that makes any sense. I don't know. I love this book. And so I'm 60%. So Frodo has now made it to Rivendell and is with the elves. And I have to say that this has been my favorite part of the book so far because it really goes into detail about the plot and what's happening, who are the players, and the history. I just can't believe how quickly I am breezing through it. I don't even know what I was scared of. This book was not hard to read. I devour it every chance I get. The characters are just so freaking amazing. Yes, the hobbits are great. They're cool. I love the hobbits. But it's the elves for me. It'll always be the elves. I think after I finish Fellowship of the Ring, I will probably read another book or two before picking up the next book, but I absolutely will be picking up the next book quickly and soon because I feel like I'm addicted. I just want to know, even though I know, I've seen the movies, I know what happens. I want to experience it in this new media because it's better. I feel like it's more colorful than the movie. The movie felt very gray to me and dark and ominous, but this book just feels so green and lush. Yeah. Read you some Lord of the Rings. Do it right freaking now. Me again. I just wanted to add, as far as the slow-paced concern, I think that Tolkien does this with intention. I think that he uses this as a way to emphasize the building of the dark powers, of the evil around them. In the beginning, you're very much in this serene world surrounded by green and beauty and hobbits. And then as they start their journey, things descend into darkness. And I feel like the descriptiveness, while it's still there, it starts to settle a little bit. Like, you don't get quite as much of it as the book continues. We'll see what happens. Maybe that changes But I think it's with intention. I think it's with purpose. And I think it's done beautifully. And I think that if you slow the freak down once in a while and look around you and enjoy it, it'll be that much better of an experience in life and in books. Am I right? Am I right? This is your TED Talk for the day. Bye! You guys, I have 50 pages left. I am obsessed. This book is on a whole nother level. I feel like it's so different from the movie. Like, there's so many more scenes that they could have included in the movies that are, or I would think would be spectacular. Some of the characters that they leave out, even ones that show up later in, say, the series instead of the movies, that are actually in this first book, I feel like really did the movie a disservice. I adore all the characters. I feel like the tension is so immaculately done. Like, it is just steadily climbs the entire time. Like, it starts out as this like soft, flowery tale and just moves into like this dark, ominous story. And it is superb. I cannot wait to move on to the next book, not to rush, but I have 50 pages left. I will finish it this weekend. We're about to run to like Costco and stuff. But yeah, I'll probably finish it later today, honestly. I'm just dying to see how this part of the book, this part of the series is going to end. Yeah. I don't even know what else to say. It's so good. It's so, so good. Don't think it's slow. I think that every word, every descriptor added value to the story, to this world. If you have not read this series and you've only seen the movies, I implore you to go pick up the books. They're on Kindle Unlimited. You can maybe find them at your library, I would imagine. I feel like there's no shortage of resources when trying to read this tale, this book. It's been out for so long. It's a classic. It's out there. You just gotta go get it. Go find it. Okay, guys, I'll catch up with you later after I've finished. So let's recap. The Lord of the Rings is the story of a journey. It is the story of Frodo and his fellowship of friends, in which he is carrying the ring of power. This ring is wanted and desired by this evil power that has begun to rise again in Middle-earth. This book is full of orcs and wizards, elves and dwarves and hobbits and all of these fantastical beings and creatures. It is only part one. The Fellowship of the Ring is only part one of this 3-part series. And let me tell you, I just finished it last night. I gave it an easy 4.75 stars. The only reason that I took it down a small little smidge of a notch is the pacing is maybe a little bit slow at times. I think that it is wonderful and lovely, and I adore it, and I can't wait to get to book 2. I would encourage you as readers, if you are into fantasy, to pick up this book. Do I think that maybe it is not best for new fantasy readers? I think that maybe you should experience a little bit of modern fantasy before you delve into a classic like Lord of the Rings, because it will give you a greater appreciation of what he accomplishes in this story. The pacing is not as detracting from the overall importance of the story. This is considered fantasy canon for a reason. Like, it accomplishes so much, and he uses the pacing and the characters and the setting to move the story along. The tension it just steadily increases, and you can feel it go from like this light, merry story to this dark, foreboding story, and it is pretty unsettling at times, but it is also lovely and wonderful. I personally adore the elves because they're so like ethereal and just everything that you would imagine elves to be, and I found myself wanting more and more of them in the tale. I think you get a really good amount, and I think I mentioned before that I think in the book itself there are characters that are not in the movie, but I do think that having seen the movie positioned me in a great place to be able to visualize and understand the story that much better and to appreciate the pieces that are in the book as opposed to what is in the movie. So my recommendation would be certainly to watch the movies, to watch the series, and then read the books. Because I think that having done that, even though it is not traditionally the way that I enjoy, the order that I enjoy, I usually prefer to read the book and then watch the movie or show. But I highly think that reversing that order helped me to have a overall better enjoyment of the book. I've heard that the books get better. Book 2 is better than book 1, and book 3 is better than book 2. I hope that is true because I loved this book so much. I thought it was just everything that I wanted, and I feel kind of silly for putting it off as long as I did. Yeah, so go read this if you haven't already, and I would love to know what you think. I do plan on picking up the next book soon. I just started last night after I finished The Fellowship. I picked up I Who Have Never Known Men. This book is really short. I hope to finish it pretty quickly. And I may read like one other book before I pick up book 2. But I will be vlogging my experience reading each of the Lord of the Rings books, I believe. Whether I do each book individually or if I maybe do 2 in one vlog, I don't know. We'll see how we go. I don't know. I am really looking forward to continuing on. So that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let's talk about Lord of the Rings. I would love to know your perspective. If you had any different insights other than what I had, drop me a comment down below.